Find. I saw the young man in the ass standing there. I don't know what you're going to do next. I just saw you step forward. The old man's sword smells of danger. Ask your voice who you are. Sorry to know the name of the dream girl. Your ass says you don't need to know. That's why he doesn't respect anyone anymore. Why did you come out a madman? Middle buttocks draw sword out stitching procrastination. Did you just say you were hiding by accident? The sword stood for a few seconds. To see the deadly gas radiating from the youth that he despises. So let me tell you what an accident really is. He drew his sword and flashed the light. The eyes are full of danger. Million Min's son stood watching. His hands trembled with fear. But then very quickly, he stopped it with his kier hand. Don't let yourself get scared. Even so, the body doesn't listen to him. It's still very shaky. It makes millions of people think for themselves. My hands are shaking. He looked confused and didn't understand what it was. Look at the young man in front of you. Think what's the feeling that we're feeling. We didn't before. I can feel something special. From the moment he pulled out his sword, my body is stiff, especially when looking at the eyes of the middle butt. His body was sweating at the same time because of fear. The feeling my whole body feels. Are you warning me at a red light? It's a danger signal. He felt that the boy was strong. It's also very dangerous. It's not the right form. He was kind enough to remind him. The sword did not cry. Don't tell him not to mention it. We shouldn't despise that kid. But the sword doesn't know what fear is. What are you talking about? He laughed like the season, even if they're just kids. But you have to hold up your sword for fun. Million brother. It also seems that the Yangtze River is religious. You're shivering. Are you the kind of person? If you look at the disciples, they are dead. He said he moved forward. Step by step moving through the bodies to the middle of the buttocks. Carrying a dagger stained with red blood. Very Kai is aggressive confident. Standing in front of you. That claims you said you'd tell me what an accident is. Suddenly, the sword threw its sword into the sky. The big body makes people look up. He quickly held the knife and threatened him to do it. Just finished talking and cut down mercilessly. The slashing force was so strong that it created the wind. Try to stop him from challenging his ass. But this is simple. His sword was cut down. It's directly friction with something. Makes a big explosion with friction. He looked back and his eyebrows widened. I only saw a sword in the middle. Gently stop the slash of the knife just now. The knife is right next to your face, but the middle buttocks are not afraid or cry. Then he gently pushed the knife back to the owner, without losing any strength. Fortunately, the sword was caught in time. Or oh, the river. But it didn't stop there. He then played a continuous attack on you. Your ass is no less than he hit you. The two sides of equal talent. Do not give up AI. But look through. I think the middle side has an advantage. He just stood there and the old man bit his teeth. Of course, if you eat, you have to pay back. You also gave him a blow. Unfortunately, he avoided that trick. The angry man with the sword shouted. Fuck. You go straight to the middle. But you have no such thing as fear. Even when it's close to where you're calm as usual. You seem to be waiting for a chance. Suddenly, there was a loud explosion, and one of the two officially signed off from here. I just saw the great sword of surprising beauty hugging for an hour. Along with that is the head. Wrists are all flying colors fall on high. Middle buttocks solved. Let's call someone else in the next game. The head of the obituary was cut to the ground. Blood, pineapple, sword. I always see that question. Maybe that kid is dead. All look towards the inside of my. I keep saying the sword in such a simple way. Okay? Million Min's son angry words. Obviously, that bastard has too much combat experience. Min Sun's eyes looked towards the beyond. He said he may have killed countless people. So when you cut off the head of the great mule, he's completely comfortable without hesitation. And do it in a fairly simple way. You're a real name. Cold blood in mine. He looked at them all with cold eyes. Million Min paint wrinkled face. Embarrassing when you see in front of you a non-trivial person. We need to take action together. I hear that and ask why. What do you say? Go forward for a while, sighed the devil. You set it all up to kill that kid. Because he just killed the great mule. You were so afraid. Are you still a murderer? Can't. Son of a bitch, shut up. We don't need that place to go. That detail. Whatever you do, as long as you achieve your goal. I mean, seriously, he's a pretty strong guy. So if we don't join forces to attack, then they're all dead. The worried eyes of the group of millions of Min's son. In 10 moves, only in 10 moves. He dodged, and all the techniques of the great sword. And then just gently take him down. Without any effort. He doesn't even need to breathe. After doing that, that means it's too simple for him. There's nothing to talk about. The sword trembled. He said it's okay if we ask to quit. We're all in one kid. There is no more face on the lake. When he heard that, he said, what to do if you kill everything? Who else can say that? Min Sun's sister was determined to say, no need to pay attention to honor. To save lives and achieve new goals is above all. In my mind, after passing through this condition, I've never experienced a battle of life and death. The matches before that, it's just a walk. In Myung, think again. This guy is the first one I killed. This can be considered a real battlefield, where life and death come first. The head of the obituary is down there. The thoughts of the Myung. This bastard wanted to kill me. I will swing my sword and kill him. Look at the head down there. He thinks there's more here. They will have to end this. Because they were planning to kill me. The look in his eyes, he thought. Eyes looking in everyone's direction. Million Min Sun. At first glance, it looks like there are 7 of them. We will try to kill these 7 men quickly. Full of determination. Face always growling damn. Its atmosphere is terrible now. You are also honored, she always said. We've been on the streets ever since. This is the first time we've worked together to confront that one person. Myung heard that. It's true that old people think together. The union of one person is shameful. But when you're dealing with a much stronger opponent, if you still have that old self-respect, You'll definitely lose your life. If you have to face death, everything. Face or something. It's just trash. You see, Bach said. To deal with the child that you're fighting back against. White Sky stepped up. You're right, you bastards are hurting. What else is there to show your face for? Losing face like this, after being rumored to be out of the water, what face do you have left to live on? What's the urge in Myung? He kept saying, go away, it's too much trouble. He pulled out his sword and said, I want to help you, try to endure a little. He was holding a sword in the face of millions of people. And say, I can't leave you alone to deal with them. Painted by fellow students. It's my fuck again. They're being threatened by phantoms. I have to fight with you. I hear that in the ear. It is more comfortable to fight alone. The worm spoke, and the master was right. The flounder said again. Master risked his life to fight. If you are a brother, you can watch. Hear that in Mio say, oh hey. There's this guy again. Yogan spoke up, brother, was right. Jesus heard that. We deal with them together. Back in the middle, I wonder what everyone is doing. In Myung instant stand photo. He sighed and said, I don't know what those ghosts are. He said, they're all going to risk their lives with them. Everybody's on fire. This big white sky, it's not easy for people to deal with these phantoms. Real loss of life, don't rush to get more complicated. I know they're hard to deal with. In Myung stand listening to white sky, say. But Kent, watch your child confront them. He was a brother. We have to live and die together. White Sky said again, maybe you think we'll get entangled. But we also have some power. It's not going to help you. White Sky continued, this is the war of the whole mountain. This is the battle. Give us experience. Even if we die, we will not be afraid. Not like that. How can I grow up here? It trembled like light in my eyes. Look Myung pondering. In Myung think that is the true meaning of the union. You are right. If you want to grow, when it's impossible not to go through a fight, the more dangerous it is, the more experience you learn. In Myung thought. Later, Hoa-san disciples need to experience the gypsies themselves. From small things to hard things. It's just going through dangerous difficulties. They can develop. And the batch is full of his talent. He gripped his sword like that. He thinks we understand now. I know, so everyone here can grow up. They will have to face danger. But seeing people face death and death, I didn't miss it. I want to protect them. So they can be safe. But live the days of peace. In this simple thought, Myung makes me think back to the old days. These are the hearts of parents who protect their children. Just like my brother before me, he was always worried about me. In Myung say, people be careful. This is a life and death battle. In the blink of an eye, I can't manage it all. Yoga speak up. Huh? We also understand, if you have entered the sword race, this cannot be avoided. Let's take care of ourselves. We can take care of ourselves. I heard that in Beyond Wondering. The whole group looked at the beard. In Beer say, this coach's brother has the guts. We'll talk outside later. I can't help but stutter. Liver discoloration, think death is not okay. I'm too strong. In Myung laughing silently. In Myung wonder what this strange feeling is. Sao. It's a feeling of excitement. But I'm a little nervous. The whole crowd looked at the Min-san. Myung thought to himself, it's like having everyone share the danger. But we have a greater responsibility than protection. Safe for them. Jordan looked at the enemy in the bio. I think they're right. Come back to the old days, brother. Let me show you the power this time. Okay, Brother Ming. Come on, sister. Your image is in front of you in the mirror. I remember the past. Brother, in speaking, let them know. What is the power of the mountain? When I look back, it's white sky. White sky smile. In neon and roar face thinking is really strange. Hands up in front of my chest, an unprecedented feeling. I grabbed the shirt on my chest. Talk to yourself. Despite trying, it can't be turned. Destiny before you. But now I have a new mission. I need to get my brother back up. Take your hands off the front of your shirt. Into the eyes of determined people. Together, we defeat them. Let's grow the white sky. A whole bunch of people came up, except in the Myung. Brother, he moved forward. The lawyer moved forward with everyone. He remembers our painted past. It can start again. Red asked the diners. You idiot, what are you doing there? The dogs have been up before. Are you going to stand there and watch? He shouted to cheer his state. And show us the power of his state. We all have a generous heart. Not inferior to any sect. Then shout out loud to them. This side is always fighting with Bak Thien. He's constantly throwing swords at you. But you didn't do it, you dodged it. That made him even more angry. It's getting heavier. So Bak avoided and explained. With someone as old as you. So, what we respect is what we need to do. Then you open your eyes and look out. And rush to the desert all the time, because of a villain like him. The mountain we need to destroy. Cannot be tolerated. He hit your move and spat out a sip of blood. Then glared furiously at the white sky. Yo gold, go fast. Passing through the invisible devil. It caused his face to flatten across a line and bleed. He saw your boy too quickly. But he's Shandong who loves fame. Can't joke. Or Zogun just jumped away from him. I was suddenly surprised to realize. The invisible devil was standing behind me. He was holding a sword about to stab it. Because if you compare the speed, he doesn't mind AI. Someone quickly used the sword to stop his attack. The blow is deflected and pushed away from them. It makes him difficult to understand because there's another bastard who wants to win death. That's Chung Cotton. That stopped his move for Goldbeard. So the two of them came together. Fast forward to the invisible devil. Yo-Won came forward and stopped him with a sword. Then Chun Lao Cotton came up from behind and used the sword to strike at the invisible demon. Force him to use force. Push the two of them out. That's why I have 7. He feels it. Look at their age. It is not long to practice martial arts. But how can they work together like that? Smooth, as we've trained together as soulmates. This is absurd. It's unthinkable. The Yogin kept pushing towards him. So he couldn't let the situation like this continues. But I couldn't fight the Yogin. Chun Cotton appeared from behind. And that really surprised him. Now Chun's sword is about to fade. Stabbed him in the stomach. Like the devil, he promptly avoided. He was so worried that he was sweating. Because I don't know where these bastards jumped from. To help your fellow man. He feels the situation is not right here. For this endless sword, it will never end. You can't go back forever. Swords from Luciju. They're all very strong and decisive. You directly hit that old yin-yang. He doesn't know when. But there are so many young players. Party Sogun and Chun Cotton. The two of them are still fighting with the devil. His hand with the sword was looser. Chun Cotton realized he was gone. When he's worried. Suddenly widened his eyes with a face of fear. I see the opportunity is now. So the Chinese quickly rushed up and slashed at him. It's like cutting your hair again. It's amazing to him. He saw the two combine. Smooth, but still see the gap. And find out their weaknesses. Prepare to die. He said that with a cunning smile. Zogun told me to be careful. When his sword was about to touch Chun Cotton. Then suddenly another sword flew by. Stop him. That makes both Chun Cotton and the devil invisible. It's amazing. His sword was blocked by another blow. The devil is in question. There was something flying over his sword. Look in the direction that the sword appears. Chun Cotton quickly realized. That's the middle butt. You tell them not to lose focus. Not much combat experience, be careful. Don't think about authority. Only a little bit can defeat those villains. Listen to those words. Qian's face turned pale at the spot, not knowing what else to say. Suddenly, the middle glare looked to the other side. Then quickly put your head down. Avoid the sword of the yin-yang master. You run over him with your feet. But he jumped before you kicked him. Then his eyes lit up, and he looked over to the side. Unleash your sword. Between the sky and the sky. As well as between saving Jesus and the yin and yang master. You remind everyone. If you ignore that death. Don't let me get mad. There's no one here to cry for you. Suddenly, a 3-man demon slayer rushed to the middle of the ass. And his knife went right through your neck. So middle butt decided to bite his wrist. That's what the Chinese saw. And it's hard to understand, because he's fighting and watching and protecting people. It's nagging, but it's exciting. The more you fight, the more you see blood. It's probably not a good time to unleash all your power like this. You take a look at them seriously. Then suddenly, a group of people came. He screamed, brothers, the state, we're moving forward. Kill all these villains. And then he kicked one of the villains. And then his brothers jumped in. Fight with the villains. Later, they're surrounding your ass to protect you. It makes you look dazed on the spot. I don't understand what happened, and did not expect. There are more beggars who don't know how to live and die. Suddenly, you realize. The Red Emperor told everyone to kill them. Then we go to the villains. They use wooden weapons to fight evil. Others use it the same way. I see the current situation is very chaotic, but the Scar is still watching. His ass saw him. I can sense that this guy has tone and intensity. Be careful with other names. You feel like he's a formidable opponent. His weapon is quite scary. They are completely different from the evil ones. In the chaos with swords everywhere, he didn't lose focus at all. Eyes only follow me. Just as a hunter looks at his prey without taking his eyes off. I feel so good right now. This could be our real enemy. In this battle, the two of them touched each other's eyes, making their buttocks excited. You see he's a fighter with real power. Middle Cotton doesn't know what do others think of this situation. When the enemy points the bleeding sword at you. His name is Millionaire. Then you understood one thing. You introduce yourself as a sage. The moral you remember is to leave this place alive. They must be defeated. Right now, he's lifting his thigh. Turn hard on you. The foot exerted such force that the stone also crumbled. He's moving like a storm. What you think of is the boy, no different than the monster. Middle buttocks soared in a split second. He stopped the blow of his sword. Two blades in contact create a glare sounder. Just as you were paying attention to him. The guy who swung his sword threw him away. My ass screeched for an hour. You didn't even get up after that. And he said, go to hell. His hand gripped the sword. Blue tendons, red tendons all rise up. He eloquently declared, I will kill you and leave alive. The two swords kept slashing at each other. This time, he's flying you away. It's stuck on the hard ground. Even if you can stop those punches, it doesn't disperse the power that's inside. This move is so powerful that your wrist wants to break. And the organs seem to be twisting. Millions of Min's sun burst forth the power contained in his sword. It's not just made up of internal forces, but it's also about will and acceptance. It must be his victory. He's betting everything he has, and to unleash an all-powerful executioner. The sword this time was terrible, to the point of shattering the surrounding rocks. You carry the sword with fatigue. Quickly back up, keep the distance. Everyone tries to get as far away as possible. He is angry. Shout out to stop running away. Your strength is certainly not at this level. He pointed the sword at him. Unfortunately, he soon found out. You keep trying to hide forever. The coward said, and he kept doing it. He ran closer with a knife. You jump up again. The sweat streamed down his face. He repeated angrily. He understood. You're waiting for his power to diminish. He can't mess with you anymore. Run with all your might. Speed is too fast to make the middle of the buttocks. Min-san holds the sword with both hands. To take a dive. He wants to end up here. As soon as he slashed down, he put all his strength behind him. His serious eyes looked at him. Now the one who flew away is him. Your brothers must be stunned by this. In the thick smoke, you feel like holding onto your power is the wrong choice. His eyes flashed with sharp rays. You think that's right. At least you should be like this. If you bet on everything, not even some papers, where Min-sun briefly moved forward again. He's deploying Dong. The wind is blowing up. The wind is not small. Keep your ass away. Tornado winds blow out the blades of the wind, just as sharp. You also use ants in your meditation. Dancing with the sword for a while. Please launch the 7-apricot sword. As soon as the sword is used, it's made pink rings. It moves spirally to fight the same battle of million Min-sun. Surround him. He's very confused inside right now. He had just noticed this sword has been sliced apart by sharp sword blows. It hurts to the bone and screams. He coughed out his blood and coughed. When the dust rises, he also had not yet recovered his soul. In a moment, looking up, red wings fly to the middle of the head. Chinese cotton uses apricot flowers to cut through him. Your feet stop. The ladder stands on the back of Min-sun. His clothes are so rusty. On his forehead, dyed with fresh blood. He quietly looks at you. He praised the last battle very well. He grinned contentedly. I just said I fell down. It has been recognized. He fell on his own blood. 3 demons not far away have seen it all. He was all sweaty. He realized he couldn't beat you. There's a fierce battle going on. Chan's ass is silent in the midst of this chaotic war. Everything seems to be out of our control. We had to do too much to get here. The 3 demons looked at the scene in front of them, not from feeling, with a plan to bring together powerful members, to be able to enter the sword race, fighting for treasures with martial arts. He bent down silently and said nothing. When you get in here, we tried to preserve our forces in the best possible way, but I don't think it's like this now. All around him were dead bodies. Everything before that was exactly as I intended. He could not help but look around. Until these painters show up and thwart this plan. He remembered. Tan Kim Long in his name. They are also fighting fiercely. A man looking at Kim Long. His eyes were filled with indignation, screaming out to attack you. You bastard have power too. But don't think you can fight me. He aimed straight at the enemy and slashed hard. White sky feels dangerous. Fortunately, it was quickly avoided. I'm very excited to see your true strength. I watched him scream with angry eyes. We will let you die. There is no place to be buried in this sword. In the meantime, the 3 demons are being defeated one by one. Save Jesus. He is also constantly attacking his army. He couldn't help but look at the scene in front of him. It's not okay. Their atmosphere is very different. They seem to have increased a lot. His eyes were clearly terrified. They all coordinated and trusted each other. Not a little afraid. This is the spirit of Hua Sect, or Sao. He looked at his opponent and asked himself. His faction was defeated one by one. People who believe the enemy are getting tired. The priest is no better on this side. He hit so hard that his face was covered in sweat. The dog now seems to be exhausted. This situation is here. The three demon kings looked around. Silence says nothing. Maybe we won't be able to beat them. He seems to understand the situation in this country. The best way to save our lives is to hide. He stepped back. Get behind him. Get ready to run. In the hour-to-hour calculation, there are 3 different teams. Martial arts are chasing martial arts are. And the group here. He looked up at the silent middle but standing there. We just need to get out of here. Then we'll be able to enter every person chasing. Martial arts are. Then we have a chance to get the treasure. Suddenly, his ass turned to look at him. Your eyes blocked his eyes. Suddenly, his eyes lit up and he was angry. He couldn't help but be worried. He immediately turned his head to avoid his attention. At the same time, find a way to escape. When facing a strong enemy, life is important. There's no need to save face. He ran thinking, his face looking terrified. There is a way ahead. We need to hurry up to get him. We're running at a very fast speed and discovered that a gate was opening. We can help him get out of here. My work can be said to be. It's reached the upper echelon. We'll be there soon. I hope the group of people chasing Vo is not far away. We can quickly regroup there. Then these painters will have nothing to worry about. The 3 demons just ran away. Just planned it in my head. We need to get there quickly. As the squad's strength increases, then we might have a chance to turn the tide. He was about to reach the door so he could escape. Where did the face of the middle butt appear from? It didn't surprise him. This bastard sees his team is weak. So I'm going to play Dragonfly, or Sao. You appear suddenly, fast as lightning appeared in front of him. He immediately used magic. The attack on him caused a huge explosion. At the same time, he was thrown away. I can't help but cry out in pain. How did you get rid of me so quickly? He couldn't help but scream and shout. As soon as he finished asking, that's when he was beaten up and beaten up. Meanwhile, his subordinates were also beaten up by the middle butt faction. The man on his side was also beaten unconscious. Chun Cotton looked at the opponent's name in front of her and sighed, being tired. The battle seems to be over, I thought. When fighting, then we're completely unaware of the danger. As it ends, we realize self-efficacy is not enough. If you take risks like this, you'll die. My hands are still shaking. He looked at his hand. Is constantly trembling and complaining. The day before yesterday, this mortal war. It's completely different from the usual martial arts. You just need to make a mistake. We will lose our lives immediately. With such pressure, I didn't act like I wanted to. The main thing is that the experience of browsing is still. Is it quite lacking? I think a life and death battle is like this. He defeated the enemy, but